All right, hello, Idiots on Parade, the Too Ugly for TV podcast. We mock the news so you don't have to. Hello, Jake.
How's it going?
All is well here. That is Jake Vevra, stand-up comedian in New York City. I am Nathan Timmel, stand-up comedian in Iowa City, and apparently it's Red T-shirt day, Jake.
You got it on too. Look at this.
We didn't color coordinate. You just overmodulated pretty fierce. I'll let you know. It was all buzz and whistles, but we're.
Oh, there we go. How about
now?
A little better. A little better.
Lot better. Yeah, you got really loud for a second. All right, Jake. Let's jump in. The UK, the United Kingdom, Great Britain had its own version of the Bud Light controversy. Did one of their beers support a transgender person?
Yes, and it was a better beer. It was a darker, more full beer, and so as a beer, I definitely support them more.
Yes. By the way, we've had a ton of rain, slight flooding, not here, but around, and so the sump pump is kicking on constantly. So I don't know if it's picking up. You saw me look away. There's going to be a lot of noises in the background. Anyway.
Also, England is a lot of controversy there because they have their first trans female soccer player. A lot of people are saying it's unfair to cisgender women's soccer players. The other people are saying, yeah, but the end score is like 0-1 anyway. It's still soccer, so no one's scoring anyway. What the fuck do you care? It's still a boring sport.
I didn't know that. I thought you were going to say they had their first drag queen leader, because when King Charles was coordinated, he was all dolled up in robes and shit like that, like we were talking last week. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about.
True. They're already familiar with the wigs, the wigs and all that shit.
No, that's what I'm talking about. England has a king. For some reason, people care, and that is the first story. It's slightly different, but there were royalists and coronation protests. People saying we don't need a king. Citizens, not subjects, not my king. This country is ours. So it's kind of like the Bud Light controversy, except for the part where the royal family does get hundreds of millions of dollars for doing absolutely fucking nothing, and they get to live in palaces. I don't understand how it's 2023 and there are still kings and queens and they're taken seriously, but I don't protest anything, but I see where the protesters are coming from. I don't understand.
Don't protest anything because they're not taking a bunch of my fucking tax dollars to go live in a palace. That's why it's not the same to me. I mean, it's not even close.
I meant it's same as far as England goes. They had something similar. I don't care.
No. I mean, it would be similar if here they were like, well, since Dylan Mulvaney got a Bud Light commercial, now we're going to take about $250 million this year from we wanted to build schools, but the Lord Duchess Duke Dylan Mulvaney of Yorkingham needs another palace. So this is coming straight from the taxpayers. There you go.
Yeah. No, I just meant it's sort of a non-controversy, but it is actually controversial, is what I was saying. Is it's similar but not similar, because the Bud Light thing, as we've said. Now that's the other part is Bud. Now, when this first hit, we said, hey, they probably did market research. They see where the future's going. They want to get young drinkers. They're like, hey, we're progressive like you young people. Every week, we were wrong. We were wrong. Every week now, they back further and further away, with the CEO distances himself further, announcing officially this was not a formal campaign. It was just sending him sending her up. I'm going to get canceled now. Sending her a 6-pack. It was not. So every week they back further and further away to appease the rednecks and the racists.
Now, see, next week they actually will be going at Dan naming her. Her name's Dan. Fuck that. It's him. I don't. Bud Light. There's a guy will have a fucking acoustic guitar and a checkered shirt, and he's gonna be just dead naming Dylan Mulvaney to a fucking country song.
What they're going to do is they're actually going to send Dylan Mulvaney a new 6-pack, but with her former identity, when she was born biologically male, but still, female internally. Like I'm not describing her. You know what I mean? Going to send an old with the dead name and the old picture and be like, this is who you really are. Kid Rock rules. Yeah, they're going full opposite direction. That's where they'll be next. Just
Yeah, no, they, the people going against Bud Light really fucking stuck to their guns on this one, which is weird because, like we were saying when it first came out, this is not the first company to put a rainbow flag on their thing or anything. If anything, it's weird that they're doing it now this late. If you're going to do it,
yeah,
because other companies have been on this bandwagon for like 10 years, especially in June, man. I mean, it's weird that there's this much they're going to be pissed when it's June is all I'm saying. Is every single corporate consumer good is going to have a rainbow flag on it. They're going to be like, what the fuck? How did this get by us for a decade?
for 15 years? Or as I have said every week, you've said the same thing. Who gives a fuck? If you're Bud, you want to sell as much beer as possible, which means you tell the rednecks, hey, we're Budweiser, we like guns. And you then turn to young people and say, we support the trans community. Yeah. And then the young people and the rednecks drink beer. Who gives a shit if your identity's so wrapped up in your beer? Like, that's what's sad about the rednecks, is if their identity is so closely tethered to Bud Light that they have nothing else going on in their world, that they are that threatened that someone else drinks their beer. Like, oh my goodness, I can't think of anything more sad than that.
Yeah, that's true. But what they should be doing is they should pander to those people in both, kind of in the way you said. But I say all these companies own other companies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all the cereals owned by like 3 different companies.
Yeah.
I'm sure the big
there are
beer
2
companies
beer
the
companies.
Same way.
There's 2 beer companies. There's like InBev, and then there's a South African. There are 3 beer. Yeah. Like Coors owns Miller, Budweiser owns. They all own one another.
So what you do is you have Bud Light, since they're already getting heat for, being trans or whatever, you have them lean even harder into it. Harder. I mean, they're sponsoring drag queen story hours. They're going fucking nuts, right? And then you have another company that they also own, sponsoring protests to the Bud Light drag queen story hours. And you're like Nicolas Cage in Lord of War. You're funding both sides of the armament. You're not a true arms dealer until you've supplied weapons to governments to kill your own countrymen. That's the route you take. You sell weapons to both sides and let them just fight it out. You sell both sides beer, let them get drunk and beat the shit out of each other. That's what you do.
And then you post your quarterly profits. Wall Street is happy. Like, oh, the sales here rose or dipped depending on who they were selling to. They both, yeah. Then you just
that's report. Right. And then you get a third company that just sells shot and beers to those of us moderates who will sit on the side and just kind of drink like spectators, like war spectators at the beginning of the Civil War, when they were like, we'll just see. I think this is just going to be a cute little battle. We'll just kind of set up tents and those little hand fans. You know what I mean? We'll just drink mint juleps.
Back it out. Anyone surrounding the Hatfield and McCoys, like, oh, those 2 families are fighting. Let's just watch them fight. We'll stay on the sidelines as the Hatfields and the McCoys duke it out.
A lot of Smiths left in the phone book who just sat back and watched and had a good time. So you get a third company to sell to them.
Right, sell to the rest of us. And then, as you just stated so eloquently, the company makes money on all 3 parties. The extremists on one side, the extremists on the other, and then the moderates that don't give a fuck about anyone.
Yep.
Either side, yeah.
Right. I just don't drink beer anymore, really. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Tell me who's sponsoring White Claws before I start giving a shit. I like cocktails and White Claws now. Or just straight up shot in a beer. I don't know. I'll drink the beer for shot in a beer. That's cheap shot in a beer, different.
Yeah. One last thing on King Charles. I just thought this was amusing when I logged. I bounce around news sites. I look at them all because the one I'm looking at right now is Fox that I sent you, where the CEO backs away. Because, of course, I didn't even mean to talk about this, but I just thought of it. Of course, Fox is the one that's reporting Anheuser-Busch CEO is backing away from the Bud Light controversy. I did not see that anywhere on CNN. CNN did not have any stories about the statement. This was not a real campaign, but Fox is all about it. So that's amusing right there.
And we even said when it first came out as well, if they were really that pro LGBTQ, they would have had Harvey Milk on that fucking can 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
But they didn't. Not even, you know, because they were like, well, the general public is going to stray away from it. Not even the dairy companies would fuck with Harvey Milk, and that was an easy one. So you know, the fact that they're doing this now, that to me says you're just going where you think everybody else is. It's I know I made the comparison. The same company that took shoes away from Kanye West for anti-Semitism sold shoes to Hitler because it was the thing to do. So
At the time.
If enough people decided we don't like this rainbow flag on the beer, they will go so hard the other way that they will have a red and black flag on there if it gets bad enough. And you already see the CEO going in that direction. If it went even farther, and we also don't like the gays as well as the trans and the gypsies. And
I don't know that they'll go that far, but you'll see a Confederate flag on there next. That's what they'll do next.
Exactly. It would be, it will be Bud Light MAGA, and they will go. It's just what is going to make us more money. We are not pro queer. We are pro selling beer, and so
pro green.
That's the way that they're doing it. Yeah.
But the last thing I was going to say when I got distracted by the whole Fox is reporting this and CNN isn't, was the fact that when I was looking at news stories on Saturday morning, I sent you a screenshot. Holy fuck, CNN. Every single story there. I took a screenshot for you of the entire front page of CNN. Every goddamn story was about the king being crowned. Why? Was it such a slow news day, or do you think Americans give that much of a fuck? This wasn't like CNN UK. This was CNN. And I didn't click a single goddamn story. I just looked at the front page and went, wow, fuck you. I do not care. I don't even like giving the story oxygen. The fact that we're talking about that England crowned a king, it's just silly. But CNN, they went all in.
I was never prouder of my countrymen than when Harry and Meghan made a podcast and it fucking tanked.
Yes,
I've never been more ashamed of my countrymen than when their stupid Netflix doc whining, going, "We got the smallest castle. It's big," you know, like. That did well, but we're also counting international numbers. I'm hoping that it's these fucking idiots overseas that are actually giving a shit about the royal family or the former royal family people. Or I don't give a shit about any of them.
I got a quick side story, and I may have told you this before. Put on Disney Plus for my kids and watching a nature program. It was about elephants migrating across Africa.
Oh, dude, I saw the first episode of that. It was pretty good.
This was a couple of years ago. This is not like a series. This was just a one-off.
This one was pretty good. The first episode was great.
Well, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, because
right now,
what I was talking about is I put this thing on elephants and the narration started and I kind of went, ew. And it distracted me for the entire episode. Every time there was narration, I'm just like, this is not good. I do not like this. Why did they hire this person to narrate? And at the very end, the card comes up, narrated
Prince
by
Andrew getting blown by an 8th grader. This entire fucking elephant.
Narrated by Meghan Markle. And I'm like, well, there you go. They fucking, because I had heard she had signed some contract, or it was about that time. It's like, yeah, the only reason she got that gig is because she is her, but she's not good. I had no idea. I just know that I was annoyed by how bad the narration was. And then when the title card popped up, I'm like, oh, well, that's why. That explains a lot. All right, let's move on. All right, I sent you an odd story that I need to find. The headline is pretty horrible. This is all on you, rapist wrote woman who was ready to testify against him before 7 were found dead in Oklahoma. This human piece of shit was in jail for rape. He got released after 17 years. And then
we're on to a more lighthearted story than the royal family. I hate those guys, you know?
Yeah, finally something. So,
and by the way, before we move on to this, I will never respect any reporter from America that talks to a royal or former royal or whatever and doesn't ask the question, did you know Prince Andrew was into kids? If you do not fucking ask that to people to their face, I don't give a shit what you have to say to them. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's good. So what happened was he gets released from jail, and then this woman finds child porn on his computer and is going to testify against him, and so he kills everyone. He's a human piece of shit, and that's all there is to it. But there is one goddamn sentence in here that I should have had it. Fuck. Here we go.
I was wondering why you sent me this story. It sounds like a bit of a buzzkill for a
It
comedy
is, but there's
podcast.
one sentence in here where this person said, "God damn it."
I guess we can just sit in the whole.
The woman
murder
said
and
she
kid
met
fucking
him while
thing.
he was in jail, and she manipulated him into getting into a relationship with her. And just that sentence jumped out at me like, wait. He's in prison, and yet he was somehow able to manipulate. This is on you, sweetheart. If you are writing to an inmate, and no matter what he is saying, oh, I'm innocent of the charges, I'm so misunderstood, you are writing to someone that's in prison that was convicted. I'm looking for
I hear you. It's pretty
thing.
stupid, but she was also like a teenager at the time, so I'm
I
like,
don't care.
that's why you can't try them as adults. They're fucking
McFadden
dumb,
asked
you
for
know.
proof of her age, back and forth, quickly turned sexual, and he asked her to take off can you take off your shirt and take a picture? He knew I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. I was brainwashed. You were writing to someone in jail. Where the fuck are your parents, and why? How does this start? How does the first letter start? That's why I sent you this article. I want to know where this all begins, because
No, she
again,
should be doing what I just did and blame her age, not the fact that, well, I was under some cult leader spell. It's like you were his pen pal. How you gonna get brainwashed as a pen pal? Like,
exactly.
That's crazy. But
I mean, all you had to do was stop writing after the first letter, or even better, do not write that first letter. It doesn't. Babb provided a harrowing account of how McFadden allegedly lured her into a predatory relationship as a teenager, convincing her from prison that they had a future together, and threatening her when the relationship was revealed and charges were filed from prison. But I looked the entire story through. It doesn't really say how it started, does it?
well, okay, here's who I'm upset at, you know, because again, this shit, especially when you're involved in like underage, you know, like their heads ain't formed
No,
yet.
they're
Their
not.
heads are
Because
still
we
soft.
talked about in the past that teenager that joined ISIS that wanted to come home, and Republicans were saying never. And you and I took the position of, hey, if she can go on a circuit and say, hey, teenagers, don't do stupid things, she wasn't out on the front line. She got turned into a slave wife. And so she has a horrible, horrible story that she can teach other teenagers from. This kid can do the same thing. She can tell other teenagers, hey, don't write to prison inmates. I just want to know how it started. The idea that she was lured, but I interrupted you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, fuck, I lost my train of thought, but
I'm sorry. That was on me.
I said you're misquoting me. I thought we should bring women who joined ISIS home, because if they'll join ISIS, they'll definitely do anal. What? No, now I don't remember. I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about now. But oh yeah. Here's who I'm really mad at here's who I blame the most is what the fuck's going on with that warden? How do you have a pedophile having like underage pen pals on the outside? Like run her tighter ship, dude. Come on, you're checking the drug addicts' assholes for fucking heroin bags every time they come back from the meeting room, but some pedophile is in there just like, dear little Susie, send me nudes, you know, like how is this happening?
Well, okay. I don't know if he's still around, but if astute listener Dan, the lawyer, is still out there listening to us, chime in somewhere. Leave a comment, shoot me a message if you have in the past. Do prisoners have rights when it comes to their mail? Because I know for a while, wasn't their mail getting opened and checked? And I don't know if that ever went away. Was there a case that said
if it
prisoners
did go
don't?
away, I say we put a strong asterisk on that. Federally, every state, any state that fights back, they want to ban kids. Okay, you put an asterisk on that says except for pedophiles. We check their fucking mail. I don't give a shit. If you're a pedophile, we're checking your mail.
That is a good asterisk, because again, like you said when this started, you're like, why did he send me this story? That is why I sent you this story. It is a horrible, horrible story about a piece of shit human being that is a rapist, a pedophile, and a murderer. But Jesus Christ, that line jumped out at me. He lured me from prison. I mean, like you stated, most cult leaders, you got to be right there. Like David Koresh was right there saying, "Hey, I need to sleep with all of you because I need multiple
Yeah.
wives." It was
A lot
in
of times
person.
there's drugs involved,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Heaven's Gate, that was all in person. Shave your
How good of a
balls.
fucking writer is this guy? Huh?
I-
Brainwashing people
Better
from
than
prison.
Shakespeare.
If only he would have put his powers into writing novels. Like he could be the next what
Stephen King.
J.J. Tolkien or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck, man.
JJ JRR, like JK Rowling or
I
Tolkien.
don't
Yeah.
know all the writers'
Yeah.
acronyms. I think it's pretentious. Anyway, he could be the next Tolkien, is what I'm saying. It's
Yep.
Jimmy Tolkien. Fuck off. Whatever his first name is. You're now Jimmy Tolkien. Stephen King doesn't do that, and he's the most successful author in world fucking history next to Shakespeare. So, and even then, it wasn't, oh, W.D. Shakespeare. It's Willie. It's Willie Shakespeare. God damn it. If he's not too good for it, neither are you, J.R. Tolkien.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, next story. The Department of Justice secures longest sentence yet for convicted January 6th defendant. And that's not what I wanted to send you. What happened to the one I sent? Well, they nailed two Proud Boys, where I must have closed it on accident. Because it's all tied in. Department of Justice secures longest I guess it is this. It was for the Proud Boys. The leader of the Proud Boys got arrested. There are three of them. My favorite part of this story is probably past the continues.
Do you think when they have to reform the gang in prison, they promote it to Proud Men? Because Proud Boys, you know what I mean? Like as a prison gang, it's like, yeah, but you just, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you're gonna get fucked like that, I think.
Well, my favorite line in this entire story is how his lawyer, one of the Proud Boys lawyer, the leader, Schwartz, Mr. Schwartz, is the leader of the Proud Boys. Peter Schwartz, prosecutors termed one of the most violent and aggressive participants, was sentenced to 14 years behind bars.
Ouch, that's not a good prison gang leader name.
No. But here's my favorite. His lawyer, this is his quote, and this is why I sent you this. Although his conduct is indeed serious, it is significant to note that Mr. Schwartz's actions were not motivated by any desire for personal financial gain or any other type of benefit. So it's good to know he was just trying to overthrow the government, not as a get rich quick scheme. This was not a pyramid scheme. This was not Amway. This was not this was just pure straight up rioting and trying to overthrow the government, but he wasn't doing it for the endorsements. He
Yeah,
didn't
half
want
of
to
those
like
motherfuckers are just trying to sell T-shirts. It's messed
he
up.
didn't want to like I hit a police officer with a fire extinguisher. Eat at McDonald's. Big Macs are tasty. No, he wasn't looking for the endorsements. Nike's helped me run away
Right.
from the cops that day.
He wasn't trying to become the Minnesota Vikings new mascot like that shaman guy, that fucking sellout. He was
Yeah,
in
he
it for
just
the
did it for
cash, and he was in it for the pussy. That's what I say. He doesn't give a shit about Q or you.
Oh, what kind of defense is that, though? He wasn't in it for the money. The quote continues. Let me finish it. I started laughing.
I would,
His
I
actions.
would ask as the prosecuting attorney. But was he in it for the women though? Was he doing this for the puss?
Well,
Was he
that's
doing
the
it to
end
try to get
quote.
laid?
His actions were motivated by a misunderstanding as to the facts surrounding the 2020 election. Well, no misunderstanding. He got directly lied to by the liar in chief, Trump, as we have said. Trump said, "Hey, I am the president. I am telling you to do this." And they went and did it. You listen again, I'm 50-50 on this. I know you lean more toward Trump told him to do it. I'm
Yeah.
50-50. There should be some personal accountability where you go, well, he's a lying asshole. Maybe I shouldn't listen to him. If you're so stupid that you do listen to him, then you kind of deserve to go to jail. You're more forgiving than I am there.
Yeah, I am. I mean, not for anybody that did anything like violent. Anyone that was
Yeah, hit a
assaulting
cop or
cops, a different fucking story, you
yeah,
know.
if they're just
But I'd
marching
say
around
the
with
same thing to
signs.
anybody who assaulted a cop during Black Lives Matter. I'm like, fuck them. Let them share the
Yeah.
same prison cell for the same amount of time. Different fucking thing. But anybody who was just there, even throwing things, breaking things, whatever, they weren't told to do that by some rando on the internet. They were told to do that by the commander in chief, the highest office in the land. And so that to me, I've made this comparison before. It's the difference between taking bleach pills because a podcaster told you to do it,
Yeah.
and taking bleach pills because the Surgeon General told you to do it. Very different things.
Yeah. Well, this guy, I just stumbled across one thing I'd forgotten to say was he's been on probation for one other case that included assault. But my favorite, second favorite sentence is his threats against officers date back to 1991. He's been convicted on 38 charges. The cases range from a 2019 conviction for terrorist threats for threatening police officers to a 2020 conviction for domestic violence after he bit his wife on the forehead. That's a pretty interesting place to bite someone, is on the forehead.
It's not well thought out. Either that or he missed.
He might have missed. Maybe he was going for the nose, but when you're trying to bite someone for pain, for violence, or even for sexual gratification.
I think it's good thinking on his ex-wife's part, because she thought quick. She was like, holy fuck, his chompers are coming right at me. Die.
Yeah, she put her head down. Yeah,
right after
on her
what
part.
They didn't put in that report is right after he did that, he immediately went, ah. Like it was a good defense mechanism, like a tortoise shell. What's up?
My toofs. I hurt my toofs fighting you.
That's why all of his crowns got fucked up on the left side of his face.
All right. The United States U.S. investigation uncovers 2 10-year-olds working at Kentucky McDonald's. Not at a Kentucky McDonald's, which would have been a better sentence, but according to this headline, working at Kentucky McDonald's. No in there. Investigations also found 3
To be fair,
franchises.
this Yahoo News article was also written by a 10-year-old.
This was The Guardian. This is The Guardian.
Yeah. Guardian, so what are you doing hiring 10-year-olds to write your fucking articles?
Investigations also found 3 franchises in 4 states employed a total of 305 children working more than legally permitted hours. You know what I did not see in this story, Jake, and I hate to say it, but I think we've talked about it in the past. I am going to guess. I'm just going to branch out and guess, and I hope I'm proven wrong. No, I don't know if I'm guessing these are not, according to Republicans, or good white Christian kids. I'm going to go ahead and guess that given the hours these kids were working, these were probably the children of illegals getting hired like that. It's not reported, and I wish it would be, because shit like that gets swept under the rug.
I did notice they were talking a lot about that. Well, this 15-year-old and this 14-year-old work past the legal hours. And they just threw in the thing about 10-year-olds working for no money until 2 a.m. And I'm like, what? I want to know their story. No other details, nothing. Fucking details. They put that right at the top, and it did not dig into it at all.
And that's the scary part, because it probably is. Because that's what happens is like, well, as long as it's not good American kids, wink wink, or it's considered, quote, less of a problem. It's bullshit. It's a problem. 2 10-year-olds, like, I will be stunned if it turns out to be naturalized citizens. That would stun me.
Yeah, even then, I'd still rather have my 10-year-old son working at McDonald's for free than on fucking TikTok all day, huh? Give him some work ethic. That's what I say. No, these kids. At
least he's getting a work ethic in. At least he's learning something. The price of hard labor.
Goddamn right. Hey, I started. My first job was bricklaying at 12. All right. I don't give a shit. That's such a harder job than working at McDonald's. I would still knock off 2 years. I still got you fucking beat. I don't give a shit.
My favorite part of this story is the violations affected 154 minor employees at the restaurants and led to a fine of, Jake, how many millions of dollars do you think these franchises were fined for fucking over kids and making them work past their hours, and or what do you think their fine was? How many millions?
I mean, it's got to be close to the Dominion settlement, right? 787 million, somewhere in that.
$92,000. 92 didn't even crack $100,000.
Didn't even crack 6 figures.
No, 92,000 for making kids work all sorts of hours. But like you said, it breaks down to 14 and 15-year-olds working overtime is not permitted by. Nothing on the 101 minor workers. Just in June last year, a franchise, McDonald's was fined, oh God, they were fined $3,000. Ooh, they're going to make that in a weekend for assigning a 15-year-old to work a deep fryer. It's considered
Well,
a
that to
hazardous
me
job.
sounds like semantics. I don't know, dude. If he's 15, he can work in there. It's a deep fryer. It's not,
Well, so the child suffered a burn. So let me get this straight. Okay, I'm going to
But
play
that's how
both
he
sides of it.
learns.
Well, wait, I
He
want to play
learns from
both
the
sides of
burns.
this. At 15 years old, a kid can get a learner's permit and drive a 2,000-pound car around hitting shit, but he can't stand in front of some bubbling oil that, like, hey, drop the fries, pick up the fries. It's a basket. Like, that seems a
Yeah,
little odd. I
I'm
remember
telling
me at
you, dude. When I
15.
was 12, I was mixing fucking mortar with just a garden hoe. I was mixing the buckets of sand and mortar mix and buckets of water in a giant trough until it was mortar. And then I was taking bricks and cinder blocks and walking them up shaky wooden planks that were made there instead of stairs because it was a building that wasn't built, or it was built, but we were doing the outside. So it was going up scaffolding. I'm on fucking like planks, like trying to fucking balance with bricks and cinder blocks each hand. So yeah, 15-year-old can fucking work a deep fryer. I don't give a shit.
You know what I was doing at 12, Jake? I
Huh.
had a paper route.
Dude, nah. It's wake up before dawn to lay brick. That's how it's fucking done. That's how it's done. I'm on McDonald's side for making these underage kids work too
Well,
much.
I'm on McDonald's side for the very last one, for the 15-year-old at the deep fryer. I think a 15-year-old has enough wherewithal to take a basket, set it in oil, stand back, then lift it up. I mean, what was the kid doing? Dipping his hands in to grab the fries? I don't know. It makes no sense. It deep fryer should not be that big a deal. All right.
Yeah, I had done fucking meth by the time I was 15. I don't give a shit about this.
You were a couple months away from dying on dog medication.
Yeah, I'd already been in and out of rehab. I'd been in and out of a coma by 15. Are you fucking kidding me? He can't handle a deep fryer. Grow up. These kids are soft. They're soft.
You made me laugh burp. I don't know if you heard that, if it hit the microphone good enough, but I just laugh burp.
Yeah, but okay. I need more details on the tenure, because also what the fuck were they doing? And then who are they? Like, I need to know this information. Like, what were the parents doing? Didn't the parents think that it was weird that they had a Fisher Price McDonald's uniform, that the kid was coming home at 3 a.m.? Like what the fuck are the parents doing?
I'm hoping the parents were there working alongside the kids. That's why I'm assuming. That's why my brain jumped to the here we are shitting on people that come to this country to work, and we're making their entire family work. That's why my brain jumped there to the sympathy for the entire family.
And they're only 10. Where's all these QAnon fucking nuts that were wanting to shoot up that pizza restaurant because they had a pedophile ring in the basement that wasn't there? Now they actually have 10-year-olds working at McDonald's, and it's run by a creepy looking clown. The whole thing. It just, how is there not a conspiracy behind this?
Well, what's going to be sad is when someone does shoot one up and then they point at our podcast and now we get sued. But we will get press, so that's all that matters.
That's true. Try to take $1 billion from me, dummy.
Well,
Macy's has been trying to get me to pay off a $20 bill for 6 years. Let's go. Let's go. Huh? Go for $2 billion. Fuck it.
Speaking of money,
I think those two 10-year-olds were crisis actors at McDonald's. What do you think about that? Let's go for $2 billion. Let's go. And George Soros sent them $3 billion. And those kids were in there writing fake ballots for fucking Billy. Come on.
The Soros and crisis actors, nothing's gonna top that. Those two are fucking right there. When you hit crisis actor, now I'm on your side. Let's bring it. Bring the lawsuits.
That's right.
And the only way we're going to get money is the last story. I sent you a tweet. Did you watch this video? A pastor died, spread out on the floor. Oh no, I'm being called back to heaven. The only way I can be resurrected is parishioners walking up and laying money directly. We're not passing a basket at this church. No. People walked up and laid money directly on the pastor to revive them. So
like an evangelical stripper. That's crazy.
I don't need CPR. I don't need mouth to mouth. Laying money is all that. I don't need like paddles clear. I don't need one of those. No, laying money brings this pastor back to life. It's a miracle.
You want to talk about a fucking crisis actor, huh? I'm dead. Throw money at me. That's a real crisis actor right there.
Well, that's what we need to do, Jake. We need to do a live podcast tour, and in the middle of it, we just, Jake, I'm feeling funny. I got oh, I got to lay down on the floor here. Oh, if only the people in the audience would walk up and lay money on me, I may be able to continue the podcast. I may be
Yeah.
able to again make fun of 10-year-olds working at McDonald's and King Philip Henry, which one? Charles, that's who it is. King Charles. I only if people lay enough money on my belly will I be able to make the funny again.
I want to see that. Yeah, okay, this she was getting a lot of money. This might have been the first time she did it. Now, I have more of like a cynical view of this.
Wait a second, what you just said. I want to know what happens when she does this for the 5th time.
Yeah. I'm being killed by the Lord again. Like, what do you, at a certain point, like the 20s turn into 10s, the 10s turn into singies, right?
Yeah.
Singies turn into fucking coins. Like,
Jake,
you're a homeless
quick
man
question
on the
for
side
you.
of the train. Like, what is this?
Quick question. Is this, the fake death pastor, better or worse than the one we talked about that was angry at his parishioners because he could only afford, I don't know, a Timex and not a Rolex, or he could only afford a Rolex but not like a higher? Remember him who was like, I only have one private jet or whatever? He was in Brooklyn and he was pissed because he wasn't getting enough money from his parishioners. Is this better or worse?
I feel like this lady listened to our podcast and was just like, I'm going to do it the opposite of that guy. Not only don't I have a Rolex at all, I'm dead, you know, and then it's like, you got to kind of pretend you need the money. And I need it to literally live. I mean, I honestly took a more cynical view of this because I'm looking at this lady. I'm like, she's not even pretending to be dead good. Like, she's still moving.
Yeah,
like, if I was a director and she was supposed to be a dead person on like CSI or something, I would be like, hey, will you fucking stop moving your head? You're alive. You're alive. Not only are your parishioners not going to give you money, like, I'm not going to give you money as a director who's fucking paying you to act dead. Just act dead for 30 seconds, you stupid diabetic fuck. I don't care that you have the sugar foot and can't stay still. Take your medication, take some fucking opiates. I don't give a shit. Just pretend to be dead for 30 seconds. So she wasn't doing that good. I'm thinking it was more like a sort of like a WWE sort of thing. It was kind of new, like
soap opera acting, over the top. Over the top. Like,
hey, this is gonna go to help the needy, but I'm gonna fucking, you know, give you a show out of the whole fucking thing. You know, I mean, I would like to think maybe I'm giving
the needy being my shoe closet, probably. The needy being my shoe, the needy being her shoe closet. That's who it's going to help.
Oh yeah, she didn't actually spend it on the poor.
She's getting some Emil DeMarcos action going on.
What's up?
She's getting some Emil DeMarcos action going on. She's buying shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, kids, find Jake at Jake Vevra on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Is anybody still on Facebook? I go there. It's just a fucking dead. Facebook sucks. Find Jake everywhere at Jake Vevra. You can find me. NathanTimmel.com is my website, and it's got links to. Just Google my name.
Facebook. How am I going to know whose dog just died and which of my friends from high school fucking OD'd? I mean, that's how I learned this information.
Well, the OD part is because it's like your OD group is kind of like old World War II veterans seeing who's surviving the longest.
Pretty much. Fentanyl was our fucking D-Day. It's taken out a lot of my fucking friend circle from back in the day. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you did like to participate. All right, kids. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will talk at you next week.
Later.